Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Celeste.
And I'm Tynn.
Yes, we have a special guest today, and Alesta's
yes.
friend Tynn, because we will be talking about some issues that require people with better knowledge and a chaperone.
Yes, that's right. And Tynn and I have been like friends for one semester so far. But she also runs her own Instagram page. You want to plug that right now?
Yeah, actually the co-director of Inter-Uni LGBT Network, and yeah, you can follow us at Inter-Uni LGBT.
Yeah, we'll leave it in the links below.
Yeah, man.
So, yes.
Link will be there. And speaking of Instagram, right? Remember to follow us on Instagram, IMO.pod.
IMO.pod.
Follow Alesta if you like. Follow me if you like. Can follow Tini, but she private, she may not like. But just follow us all on Instagram. And also, expanding on Instagram, we actually got new things coming your way.
Very, very new things. Very, very exciting things. First, where do you even start? Do you want to start with the...
You start.
Okay, so I start. He didn't tell me what he start with. He just asked me to start.
Telegram lah.
Okay. Okay, so we're starting with Telegram. First of all, we have a Telegram channel.
Yeah.
About damn time. It's been like 1.5 years.
Yes.
We are very late to this party, but you know what? Better late than never. So the link is in the description box below. You can go click in. So there's a channel that you'll get updates from us when we do uploads or little behind the scenes stuff, polls for deciding what topics we want to discuss or next guest of HTHT, etc. And there's also a discussion tab inside. So if you click into the channel, you can go to discuss. It's basically a group chat.
Yes, it's a
so
group
you guys
chat.
can interact with the two of us.
Yes.
There are rules that you read in the group chat itself, but you get to interact with everyone, and hopefully you'll build a nicer community, because we recognize that we have a pretty nice community with us right now.
Yeah, we do. And as always, we always encourage intellectual discussion. So I think the group chat will be a good addition to what we always do. We always have good discussions, kind discussions, and intellectual ones, because if you don't think before you speak, then what are you even doing? Speaking of speaking,
what a terrible segue.
there is more things to come, and actually I have with us here Jang.
There's two. So basically this guy, guy called White Space.
Whited Space.
Whatever. So on Instagram.
You are then let me do it okay? Whited Space on Instagram. His name is Kok Hao.
Yes.
Okay. He was very kind to have made his signature hand-drawn portraits for the both of us for our channel. Right, so without further ado, we'll just do a quick unboxing.
Yeah, and Tini will just awkwardly look at us.
Yeah, and Tini can react.
You've never seen this before. I actually haven't seen. He only posted one on Instagram, and that already looked great.
Oh wow!
You can look at the other
Oh
one.
my god!
Look at that! Is this not the best? Is this not the best, ladies and
Give it to
gentlemen?
them.
Is this not the best?
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Is this not
this
the
is the
best?
one that he showed on Instagram. I'll leave his Instagram down below. It's very, very cute. The only one problem I have with it, okay, right, is I'm not shorter than John.
No, because he's sitting down instead.
Oh yeah!
No, but okay, Whited Space, Kok Hao, thank you so much. And do go check out his artwork, which is this double-sided portrait that he does for
Yeah, I didn't even notice
mementos.
two sides.
It's double-sided. You can see our back view. Yeah. Clearly, this one my hair shorter, this one my hair longer. But yeah, amazing stuff. Get it for your girlfriend, get it for your boyfriend, get it for your loved one, and get it for your enemies if you want to spread more love. But do check out Whited Space out. And
This is not sponsored, by the way. We just really love
and
his
thank
stuff.
you so much, Kok Hao.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. You make my day.
You made our day.
And
I didn't expect a fan
to
art.
honor this, we'll put this here, and then eventually, I will remove the plastic, but for token. Eventually, when we go back to certain discussions where it's just Alesta and I, you will see in the background.
And if you have more fan art, I can send it our way.
Yeah, we appreciate all fan art. So just drop us a DM on IMO.pod. You can DM us also individually on Instagram. And once the Telegram channel is properly up, we will be more responsive there.
Yes, and yep. And other than that, we hit last announcement before we get into the topic. We hit 5,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much.
Yay!
Thank you, Tini. It's been 2.5 years of us doing this, but you know what? As once again, better late than never. 5,000 subscribers took us a while, but we are still glad that we got here, and glad that all of you are here enjoying conversations.
Yeah, boy.
And we'll continue doing it for as long as you guys enjoy it. So please support us.
Yeah, so like, share, and subscribe.
That's right. Send fan art, do whatever you want, and join our Telegram group. And with that, I think now we got away all the announcements. They told us a whole 5 minutes to do it.
Yeah, boy.
Now let's get into the topic proper. So it's going to be a huge change in tone, because the first 5 minutes is like very happy. we're going to be transitioning a bit more to a
I mean, we
serious
can
topic.
still be energetically discussing these things.
Yeah, but eventually you'll die down. But like, okay, once again, you're going to preface all these conversations with our motto, which is go into a conversation. Every conversation is ready to have your minds change. So intellectually discuss in the comments. Even if you disagree, be nice about it. It's not sin to disagree. You're okay if you disagree, but at least be intellectual and nice about it.
Yeah, boy.
And now that we have a guest, also be nice to her, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, today's topic will be broadly about like women's rights. And the reason why I decided to ask Tynn and even do this in the first place was because
Firstly, she's a woman.
Yes.
So
do you want to do
there's some credibility.
Yes.
Some credibility.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, two of us talk about it a bit dumb. Huh?
Yeah.
But like it's been a topic that we have talked about before actually. We talked about it a little bit during the OK Let's Go episode. You guys can go and check it out. But that was between just the two of us, and admittedly the conversation isn't as comprehensive as it could be.
Yes.
So we are definitely going to try to be as comprehensive as we can right now.
Yes.
The whole incident that inspired this episode is actually the incident with Sarah in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Where she got murdered.
Yes. Abducted and murdered.
And it happened like just randomly in the middle of the street
Yes.
in the late at night. And I think that sparked a lot of like women coming out and saying that they feel very unsafe in society. And I mean, just when it couldn't get any worse, Singapore like has this like new thing where not new thing, but like it has been newly uncovered that there was a ton of like basically HD Nasi Lemak copies on Telegram, like spreading a lot of like
Yes.
pornography and all that, especially of like women who like definitely did not consent to that. So
or just like spreading of people's private photos, not even nudes.
yeah,
Can just be random pictures.
yeah, which is we don't condone that, and definitely that's something that also sparked the whole idea. And John will later talk a little bit more about like general phenomena like unsolicited dick pics, etc.
Which I think is actually I hate to put it this way, but I really feel the whole unsolicited dick pic thing is the true shared experience, the true shitty shared experience that a lot of my female friends have, but they just didn't find solidarity in because bigger and scarier things are happening. But that's also a symptom of shitty things happening in shitty society.
Yeah, and I mean, with that, I'll leave all the links below in the description box if you want to go read up some news articles before you get into this.
Yeah, that being said, I just want to, before we go into these topics proper, I just want to address that to our viewers that we do not want to make light of any of these situations, especially if you're a victim of any of these situations that we highlighted. Our heart goes out to you. At the same time, we also want to have this kind of conversations so that eventually we can create a community and a society that does not take light of this make light of these kind of situations, and these things will be able to be prevented instead of being cured.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get into it.
Okay, where do we even start? It's such a big topic that's so difficult to broach. But why don't we start with the feeling unsafe? So that's something that I feel like a lot of people, they do not attribute to Singapore society.
Yeah.
But we were talking over dinner, and Tynn actually explained that she does feel like sometimes unsafe in Singapore society. Can like elaborate a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually it's interesting because the other day I saw a TikTok about how this girl was saying commenting about the current issues about women talking about how unsafe they feel, but then she was just like, oh, in Singapore, no. Then she showed herself wearing like quite a revealing outfit and then walking around lah.
It's American, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
Yeah, that one. So I was just like thinking, but I don't actually feel the same way that she does, because I feel like, for example, if I wear a revealing outfit, I will get stares. And then mostly stared at by men lah, who are older than me. And I just don't feel safe when like I'm taking public transport or walking in public spaces where, there are a lot of other people there and like men are there. And I find that more often than not, I am stared at, especially when I'm wearing something revealing. And I think another concern that a lot of girls also have is that, being followed, or like concerns about being harassed by men when they're walking alone or even with friends. I think that's something that we don't really acknowledge because we think that Singapore is so safe.
Yeah, I think she said something like along the lines of you got catcalled before, right?
Yes.
That's something I never thought was a thing. Do you know it was a thing?
I know it was a thing.
Oh, for real?
I've
In
seen it
Singapore?
happen before.
In Singapore?
Yes.
Oh shoot. Okay, wait. Do you want to talk about the catcalling incident or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. why don't you-
So just one day, my friend and I were walking along Chinatown area with all the bars and stuff. We were just walking at the corridors of all those things, and this dude just catcalls me, and I was quite shocked because it was the first time I was catcalled, so obviously, and I didn't really know what to do, but in that moment I was very angry, so I stepped back at him. But it just made me feel very unsafe that I cannot walk and mind my own business without being objectified by someone. You know, why do they think they can catcall me? I'm not doing anything to them.
Yeah. John, have you have personally seen it?
I've seen people do it to other people before. I think catcalling around nightlife establishments is very common.
Yes.
It's more common than we care to admit, and a lot of times it is done with this very callous, it's just harmless banter kind
Yes.
of
Oh my
attitude,
God.
which is not the right way to be approaching this kind of thing, because who gives you the right to do this kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I unfortunately the first thing I want to say is, how would you feel if it's done to you but you don't understand?
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine,
even
huh?
for someone like me who tries to empathize as much. I absolutely cannot understand the emotions that happen when someone catcalls you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's just shitty, because and it's even worse when people pass it off as hey, chill,
Yeah.
we're just it's just great fun here, when there is clearly something more important here.
Yeah.
You leave someone with something, with a takeaway that stays with them for a long time,
Yes.
right? It could, you think it's over, but it may not be, right? You continue to enjoy your night, but you may have ruined someone else's night, and that alone, isn't it grounds to stop doing it? It's like you take you're smoking in a smoking corner, and then you take the smoke blow in people's face. Hey, chill, chill lah. Smoke only ma, 1 second smoke won't die what?
I've always used this analogy. It's like when you slap someone's face and they tell you it hurts, I don't think your first response should be, but I didn't hit you that hard. And that's what I always tell people. Like if someone tell you that, oh, I'm hurt or I don't feel safe when you do this, your first response should be sorry.
Yes.
Not wait, but why are you feeling this way?
Yeah.
That's low key gaslighting.
But I think that's what most men's response to when they ever someone which brings up this conversation. And I know most of you are guys, so I hope you guys are
The stats
okay. Most of the HTHT audience are female, so overall our channel audience is 60% female, but most of the IMO audience is male. I think it's 50.
Hey, your intermingle, watch both lah. Watch both.
But I know most of the people who are watching this are probably male.
Right.
So hopefully you guys don't take this as a attack on you, but maybe try to think of it from a different perspective and try to maybe listen and let your guard down a little bit. As I said, really go into conversations ready to have your minds change.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people will say oh, but catcall only why are you so upset? But I think it does affect you a bit mentally, especially if you're, let's say you're the only person on the street.
I think from my personal experience and from what I hear from my friends is that I think when we get catcalled, the main issue is not the person catcalling us, but rather the fear that because that person is catcalling us, is he then gonna do something else to us? So it's more a fear for your safety, and is something bad gonna happen? Are they gonna follow you? Are they gonna rape you, hit you, do something funny, or just gonna leave you alone? Because there's a real chance that the person is not going to stop at just catcalling. If they really wanted, they could go and harass you.
Have you personally experienced any of that, or is it?
Luckily, I haven't really been harassed to that great of an extent, but definitely some instances have happened just men whistling at me or staring at me, inappropriate touching in clubs and bars, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, another argument of a lot of people will say that they will say oh, but it's not as bad as in the States or not as bad as in the UK where someone actually got murdered. Any response to that? John, you look like you are about to say
I have something to say to that.
yes.
why are we racing for the bottom here?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we trying to do here? Okay, I have to say, I give credit where credit is due. I want to
Yes.
say that in Singapore, we as a society, even though we may not be a utopia, when we compare to other countries, yeah, we are safer, but it's not a race to the fucking bottom here.
Yeah.
We should always strive to do better and to change things that can be changed. So saying shit that like Singapore, we are not too bad already, when 1/3 of the people here has lived experience that is shitty, then, what are you going to do about it,
It's a
right?
little bit, one is too much.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if there's anything, I don't know. I always, I have the same thing. I think it's the same argument whenever someone says like, but Singapore, we're not as bad or like overtly racist as like the US. Then our argument, we have said this before on our videos, is always, like
Yeah.
the problem is that we are still a little bit, and
Yes.
that's something that we need to fix lah.
Yeah.
So yes, there's another argument down, I guess. But I mean, I can imagine, because like even when I go overseas, right? Like even as a male who is, I like to think I'm quite a big person. I'm like 1.8. I'm not skinny. If I throw fists at someone, I can probably like at least fight a little bit, you know. I'm like, I can defend myself. I'm an athlete.
You come at me.
Even then, right? Every time someone comes up to me in like a toy store in the US and they ask me there's one guy who said, "What's your favorite Transformer?" I swear, I thought I was gonna get kidnapped, and I was so scared already. So I'm just imagining like if even I feel that way overseas, much less you guys who with like actual like these stories, right? It's like almost it compounds the fear as well, right? Like
Yeah.
the more you hear about stories like Sarah,
Yeah.
it does
Definitely.
it does affect you in a way. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people like tend to overlook.
Yeah.
That like, just
Yeah.
because it's not happening in Singapore, you shouldn't be feeling.
No, I totally agree, because a lot of times there's this very common argument where people will say like, don't think so much,
Yeah.
it's just fun, all that kind of thing. But like,
Yeah.
saying that means that firstly, right, that people's heads goes to places when you do shit like that,
Yes.
right? So why the fuck are you doing these kind of things that make people's head go to places, right?
Yeah.
It's not like every time you go clubbing, then someone randomly whispers to you and say that like, I'm gonna fucking rob you later, and then walks off. Your head will go to places where you won't the person, if the person come and, hey, relax lah, it was just a joke. Are you gonna take that nicely? You're not gonna take that nicely, especially if it's a random stranger with the potential to cause you harm, what?
Yeah.
Right? And this is where I think the crux of the issue is, right? Don't tell people to like that like don't trivialize the problem just because like one incident did not lead to disaster.
Yes.
Then lead to disaster already, man? Can undo, man?
Actually,
know
like
what?
when you heard like Sarah's story, was it something that like you really resonated with, and is it something that like compounds the fear, especially in Singapore?
I think the kind of like the trickle down effect from what happened was that more people started speaking about what happened,
Yeah.
and more women and non-men started coming out sharing their experiences of feeling unsafe. And I think that just really kind of made everything like solidified the fear. And I mean, the good thing is that I know that I'm not alone,
Yeah,
and that
of course.
like so many other people feel the same way, and it's not just me. But then that's the sad part, is that so many people feel that way,
Yeah.
and that as non-men we are constantly just worrying and wondering what if anything bad is going to happen to us. Like if I go down in the middle of the night, I always worry, am I going to get kidnapped? Is something bad going to happen to me? Every time I come back late at night, I just run up the stairs because I don't want anything bad to happen to me. Things like that. Yeah.
And like I want to take this opportunity to address the men who are watching and the men who exist in society, right? I think that I know that I'm willing to bet that most of our viewers, right, the ones who engage with us and enjoy our content and stay and subscribe, you all are not predators or harassers.
Yeah.
But I think as men who exist in a society along with these people, right, who are catcalling people who are overstepping boundaries, we have a responsibility to step up for those who can't in that particular situation.
Yes.
So if you see your friend catcalling someone else, your friend making light of a situation like this, it is your responsibility as someone who understands the gravity of the situation to step in and be like, that's not cool, you shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
It's it's just being decent with each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel there is no greater service that you can do to your friend than to tell him or her that they are doing something wrong.
Yeah, and I think
You
it's
know?
not a blame thing. I think a lot
Yeah.
of the reason reason why a lot of men, like when we are confronted with such issues, they tend to like get very defensive and they
Yes.
say things
Yes.
like, "Oh, but not all men," and all these things, right? Is because they feel like whenever we say things like this, like men, we're supposed to help the women in our society because it's a two-way thing. We have to help them, and just because we live in a society with them, and immediately they think that we are blaming them.
Yeah.
Like they always think that they are being blamed.
Yes.
But I'd like to say that we're not blaming you guys. You guys didn't do the harassing. You guys didn't do the assaulting. You guys didn't do anything bad. It's just because you're not directly to blame for certain things doesn't mean that you don't have a
Absolutely.
responsibility or like at least a little bit of a part to play to help alleviate the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think standing idly by is something that aggravates the situation when it comes to this kind of thing. I throw back to a very recent clip where everyone saw that there was this lady in the States that got attacked outside her establishment, and then the 3 security guards closed the door on her and stand idly by.
Oh,
Have you all not seen that clip?
No.
Well, you all should check that clip out because of the whole Asian hate thing. But this is a very good parallel to draw to this example.
Yeah.
Everyone was very outraged by the fact that the security guards did nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? Why you must extrapolate that same outrage and emotion to the same thing when it comes to harassment that is not that physical and not
Yes.
that violent,
Yeah.
right? It can be something simple. What someone decides to follow this girl around. I don't know. Pretend that girl is your sister, and then you'll be like, "Is that a cool thing for someone to be following your sister around?" No, what? Right? Will you stand idly by? You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and that should be motivation enough then for you to stand up for every woman.
Yeah.
In fact, I will go so far is that you need to stand up for every person that you see that is undergoing some kind of potential harassment. And even more so for women, especially when it comes to things like catcalling. Right?
Yeah.
Men don't face this. Or rather, not as much, not in this kind of, not to this extent with the potential of that much violence.
Yes.
Yes. Why don't we talk a little bit more about another argument that I've seen a lot, especially when it comes to the catcalling thing. A lot of people will say that like, oh, but if someone catcalled me as a man, I'll take it as a compliment. So why can't women just take it as a compliment? Is that a common thing or is it just me?
I think it might be
know.
just you. I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
I see it once in a while. They were like saying like, oh, but like to me it's a compliment. Like why can't women just take it as a compliment?
I think it's because of the potential for that to lead into something dangerous, and that is just generally something that would not happen vice versa. Like, you know, I mean, if a woman catcalls a man, let's say, I don't think that is likely to lead to something dangerous. Also because unfortunately, biologically, men are a bit bigger and stronger, and you know, therefore it kind of perpetuates the issue here with harassment.
I think it's not that we're not saying that no man gets assaulted or
Yes.
sexually abused or
Yes.
anything like that. We're saying that maybe the history and like especially the media covering all these things does compound the fear a little bit. So
Yeah.
the way women would like I guess perceive the catcalling might be a little bit different from how
Yeah.
a man
Yeah.
might perceive a catcalling.
Because
Maybe I can help to draw. You say first.
No, because the risk is there. Like
Yeah.
even though it may not lead to anything, there's still a risk, and that's because of evidence.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true.
So that's why we are scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember the content of the catcall? What did they say?
I don't know. It might have been just whistling or like saying something, but I really don't remember because it was quite a while ago, and
Right.
also it was so brief.
Right. So I think a way to parallel this would be to it's a lousy example, but it's an example nonetheless. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you have you just bought a new luxury watch.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
bought a new luxury watch.
Yes,
Woohoo,
yes.
You wear it out and stuff like that.
Yes.
some stranger approaches you, right, and then says, "That's an expensive looking watch."
It's creepy as hell, dude.
Why are you afraid?
It's because it's like a primed thing, right? Like
Right?
there's
What?
like a preconceived notion that if you wear an expensive watch outside and if someone tells you that, you're gonna get robbed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Same thing, lah.
It's the same thing here, what?
Yeah. I think it's a priming
The
thing
sentence and the statement that is delivered inherently taken out of context, right, on the script it's harmless. It's just words.
Also.
But there is something deeper happening here, right?
Yeah.
The
The history
potential
affects it.
for a violent conclusion to that initial contact.
Yes.
I tell you, if some strange, you wear a luxury watch out to the in public and at night, and then some stranger comes up to you and tells you this is an expensive looking watch.
Yeah.
How quickly will you fucking keep that watch?
Very quickly.
Very, very,
Really
very,
fucking
very
quickly, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is the crux of the issue here. If you have the discernment in your head to keep your luxury watch,
yeah.
then you understand what it's like when a stranger approaches you and catcalls a lady.
Yeah.
Right? You understand because the potential for a violent conclusion is there. A potential for a negative conclusion is there.
Yeah.
But the difference is you can't keep the fact that you're a woman in your bag like a watch.
That's true.
You are a woman means you are a woman.
And people can see it.
Yeah.
And like, that really sucks. But yeah, I think
I think the conclusion here for me is very simple.
yeah.
We have to do better by our women.
Yes.
We have to stand up as men against men who haven't quite caught up with what people are supposed to be like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And first step at minimum, if you're not courageous enough to be able to do that, were to not be to discount the experiences of your female friends.
Yeah.
Because I think the first step to eventually having the courage to stand up for your friends is to understand that your friends are having a problem first.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Acknowledging people's feelings and people's issues is the first step to finally fixing the issues.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think it's also important for men to realize that they have a certain privilege when it comes to these kinds of issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very different if you, as a guy, go and tell your guy friend, hey, that's wrong, versus the girl telling the guy, I don't like it, that's wrong. They're obviously not going to take the girl very seriously. But if you tell the guy, as a guy friend, like, hey,
Knows more
that's
weird.
not cool, they're probably more likely to take you seriously.
I've seen that work before.
Yeah.
You know, it's so quick.
Yeah.
So someone was making fun about this person's girlfriend, right? And then it's not even anything sexual. It's just the like, wow, sometimes when she laughs, she snort, that kind of nonsense lah.
Yeah,
Normal
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then he was like, he laughed along for a while. Then after that, I was like, okay, like, actually, I don't really like it when you joke about her. And
Everyone just shut up.
stop. From then on, no one has joked about her.
Yeah.
And there's a message in this.
Yes.
You know, if someone in a position of power, someone in a position with of privilege tells you that this is not cool,
You're
people
more
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah.
And with that, I think we have a lot more to say, but I think we need to take a quick
Yeah.
break right now.
Well, let's just say with that, you're scared a bit, huh? We thought we end, but haven't. Be right back.
Be right back, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. So
We'll be back.
will continue our discussion, but this time we will move into
New territory.
media related items. Media as in not the media industry, but the media on your phone.
It's the internet.
Yeah.
Or like rather a new phenomena that has been coming up because of the internet.
Yeah.
Is it new? Who knows? But like relatively newer. So
Actually not new.
it's definitely not new.
You
Like.
think about last time we got the Nokia 320, right, or whatever, right? That was the period where the very famous Tammy video was circulating. Like, no internet, no Bluetooth, only got infrared.
What's
the
that?
Tammy video?
You all don't know, right?
That really dates you, you know.
Back
You're like,
in
oh
the
as
day,
hell.
right? There was this NYP scandal because the sex tape of
NYP? Oh.
yeah, sex tape of this
Singapore.
student or whatever was going viral before the word viral was even invented.
How did it go viral?
Because
Like people
someone
just
got it on
Bluetooth to each
phone.
other.
There was no Bluetooth.
Then how they?
Infrared, the phone put there very long.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
And it still spread like wildfire. So yes, we are coming to this topic where we talk about people's unsolicited photos and being sent unsolicited photos, basically of the male body part sometimes.
Yes. The reference we were talking about is like the Telegram groups that have been recently exposed.
Yeah.
And also, like, as what I said, unsolicited pics. And we're talking a little bit off camera about the Telegram thing.
Yeah.
And I think Tini brought up a point that not all of them are like actually porn or nudes or anything.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just random girls' Instagrams
Yeah.
photo.
It could be Instagram photos or just photos that the users of those groups take of girls in public. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. When I first heard this, I told John, like, this is such a cut and dry thing. It's just, why do you want to do it? And we shouldn't be doing it. But I think as we discuss a little bit more, we get like uncover a lot more, like, I guess, the root of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about, like, why would anyone want to do
Yeah.
this? And why would anyone want to send a dick pic, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and we were talking about it being like
Not a dick pic,
trend.
sorry. An unsolicited dick pic.
Unsolicited,
Yeah.
Yeah.
important.
I get it when like partners send each other nudes or whatever
Yes.
because yeah, boy, shits and giggles, right?
Yeah.
But when a
Yeah.
stranger sends an unsolicited dick pic, what?
And we couldn't for the life of us really figure out why.
Yeah.
But I think we I guess landed on a rather good consensus,
Yeah.
which is that, like, it's a little bit of a thrill thing.
Yeah.
It's also probably a power thing. So Tini, you're talking about like it like being almost like e-rape, right?
Yeah, I think we can parallel this to actual rape in terms of like, one, rape is not about sex itself, but it's a power play thing. So I think with like unsolicited dick pics, it's similar in terms of like, one, the thrill, and two, the power.
Yeah.
Because when you send someone an unsolicited dick pic, they kind of don't know that it's a dick pic initially, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's like blood, you know, on the Instagram DM. It's
or
like,
not even that, yeah. Whatever platform, when you first click on the picture, you're like, oh, you don't know, and then you see, and then, oh shit, it's a dick pic.
yeah.
And it makes you feel uncomfortable. So, like, you had no control over that because you didn't know it was a dick pic.
Yeah. And I think the same thing goes for the Telegram group as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because these girls, I guess, didn't know
Yeah.
that they were being taken photos of.
Yes.
Or their Instagram photos were being like screenshotted and
Yeah.
put on a online platform that not just sends it and like haha, it sends it and then like with accompanying very disturbing captions, I guess.
Perverse reacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these things are, I think, it's more of a power play thing, and
Yes.
also brings along the topic of consent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the big themes that we arrived upon in
Mm-hmm.
our discussion before, and about how like our society doesn't really have a good grasp on the I guess the concept of consent.
Yeah.
And John and I have always been saying this, it's a sex education problem. Like you cannot
100%.
you cannot be so abstinence focused to the point where
Yep.
no one is going to talk about it.
Yep.
And because of that, no one talks about healthy sex. No one talks about
Absolutely.
consensual
In
sex.
fact, just now we were just off camera. We were just saying that like it's very ironic that the people who keep advocating for abstinence are the exact people who already have sex because they are usually the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also research done. I've been doing research for a project that actually showed that the schools that actually talk a little bit more about consent rather than abstinence, they are found that when they went on to college, the women from that school actually are less victims of sexual assault. So I think it's not just about men like trying to educate men about consent and like making sure they do not do anything like non-consensual, like sexually assaulting women. It's also about the women learning how to protect themselves and knowing what they can stand
Correct.
for and what they cannot.
Yes.
No, I agree with this because if without proper education, right, both people that come into let's not talk about LGBTQ or that kind of thing, but like let's talk about cisgender people. So the man and the woman coming out of a system without any proper education, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't even know what they don't know, right? So for all you know, a woman may be placed in a situation whereby her male counterpart exploits her without her consent, and she might not even know that was happening.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
same for guys.
Same for the guys, yeah.
Who arrive at certain situations thinking that what they're doing is actually okay.
Yep.
When
Yes.
they didn't even realize that what they're doing is not okay.
I think even like personally,
Yeah.
I have like cause my partner in the past, like most of there are times where I'll like try to convince them, but it's only because, and I never thought there was a problem because I mean no one has ever taught me that it was not, and my partner also, I guess because they didn't know as well, didn't say anything about it as well. But as I learn about it more, and learn about like the whole consent culture and everything a little bit more, and what is actual consent
Yep.
rather than like forced consent or coerced consent, then like you start to realize that, oh shit, like actually me doing this is like really problematic, especially from a guy to a girl dynamic, because like I mean in a typical relationship dynamic, the guy holds like the more power, right? Because like we are men and we are more privileged and we are bigger and I guess more physically gifted and all that. So like whenever you do these things, it always comes, I guess, with a little bit of a power dynamic in the sense. So it's not the same as the other way around. Would you agree?
I agree, but I also think that not only is it a power dynamic thing. I mean, because also in some straight relationships, maybe the girl holds more power.
Of course, yeah.
Who knows,
Yeah.
But I think the underlying thing is also like gender norms and how we've all just been conditioned and brought up to think that men and women must act a certain way, and how men are usually the more assertive ones, and that like for example in a relationship, if a man says something, then you find it a bit harder to say no. You know?
Okay.
And I think in terms of sex or like sexual activity, the lines are also a bit more blurry because it's not as simple as saying like I don't want to go this restaurant or like stuff like that. It's in the heat of the moment, do you say yes because you are kind of okay with it but you're not really feeling it, or do you say no? But if you say no, then will your partner be unhappy? Will they be angry at you because you say no? Things like that.
Is it something that you like constantly think about when this type of things happen in like, your relationship? Is it like a constant, not constant, I would say, is it a worry that comes to your mind that like, if I don't have sex with my boyfriend, or if I don't give in to like I guess his sexual advances, that he will like leave me or anything along those lines?
I don't think it's a constant thing. I think at least in my experience, it's more like in the moment, like you are not sure whether you should just go along with it or say no.
Okay.
Because it's already in the moment,
Yeah.
and you are like kind of like about
But
the
at the same
situation.
time, I like what you brought up about like people who are afraid that their partners leave them.
Yeah.
I think this also ties into why sexual education is very important.
Yes.
The fact that people give in to sexual pressure because they're afraid of their partner leaving them, right? It's a very clear sign that they were not properly educated on relationships and sexual education.
Yes.
My stance after having grown to this age and understanding it better is that if I ever need to worry that my partner will leave me because I don't give them sex, right? I will have discerned and recognized that this is a relationship that I shouldn't and cannot
Be in.
be in.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
what we're talking about is the people who are less than discerning here, right? People who are younger, who even more require to, for the lack of a better word, rely on their training.
Yeah.
To fall back on their training. But right now, we're not even
There's no
training
training.
them,
Yeah.
right? And that's why that even works, right? If people try to coerce you, if you understand that this is coercion, on the spot you understand that I need to break up,
Yes.
right? Instead of, oh no, what if I don't give, then he leave me?
Yeah.
It's very clear that these people do not have a good understanding of sexual and romantic situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And this is a system where I would say that our education systems, our sex education system has failed our youth in that aspect. Because a lot of these people go through the school systems, come out of the school systems as deviant as their parents were when their parents went through the same system.
I also think that like, okay, so a lot of these arguments we have been framing it as a women's rights issue, because I mean this topic is about women's rights, right?
Yeah.
And like the problems that the women in our society face. I do recognize that all these things are also faced by men.
Yeah,
so men
absolutely.
still get sexually assaulted.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, men who are still being forced to have sex and etc. etc.
In fact, right, I would say that there is a disproportionately large unreported men
Of course.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of firstly the lack of
stigma.
education, and also because the stigma in society, which is very unfounded.
Yes.
I can only imagine. I cannot imagine, right, some of the anguish these people can go through, because firstly, right, for men, there is no support system when it comes to these things.
Yes.
And it's so unfortunate that if someone does come and own up to this, I would say that it's a good 50 to 80% chance people don't believe that they are actually in crisis.
Mm.
You know?
I think, I just want to apologize for us not talking much about this in detail, because I mean we do want to keep it to the topic, and this episode is reserved for the women in our society, but it's something that we're definitely open to talking a little bit more about. Especially, I think it's very interesting to see like a lot of, as we are saying things like, oh, the women in society sometimes, because of the power dynamic that exists, there are a lot of like problematic things that happen.
Yeah.
It's so important to look at it on the other side, that the flip side does still happen.
Yeah.
And it's still very much a problem. So we definitely talk about it in a different episode. We'll get the right guest on and try to chaperone the topic a bit better. But let's go back into the whole women's rights thing, because I think that's the main point of this episode. So going back to the whole Telegram thing, I don't know. I find it very difficult to understand why they would ever want to do this, especially if you think about it as like, if your friend is there, like it's just, I feel very like Yuan Wang. I don't know Yuan Wang is the right word or not.
I'm a little bit jaded by this entire situation because I've experienced so many such instances where my female friends come up to me and or like I come across a site.
Yeah.
It can be because I'm watching porn.
Yeah.
And then I see my friend.
Oh.
Fuck.
Right? I see my friend on a public porn site. Not naked, just
Instagram.
random pictures taken from social media or that kind of thing. And then I'm just like, what the fuck is she doing here?
Yeah.
Right? And I get very defensive because like we all know what people are there for. It's a porn site, right? You're there to watch porn because you are there to fulfill some kind of carnal desire. Let's admit. Okay?
Yes.
But when you see your friend there, which you know if clearly your friend is not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know? And then that's when you will report, and then I'll tell my friend about it, and I'll just be like, is this you? Did you like put it here? Because if you did, I'm color me surprised. Right? And if you did, then I guess more power to you lah. But like I'll ask them about it. I was like, is this you? Do you put this here? Then like, no, what the fuck? It's from my old picture. And then I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Report lah.
Yeah.
And this actually not just happens in porn sites or even in that kind of chat. Catfishing, right, is a thing.
Yeah.
Right? And like people, I don't know, it's outrageous. Frankly, I got no
I
word
don't know
for
how
it.
to explain
It's
this.
outrageous. And
Man.
I have friends who have told me about how intimidated they felt on both ends of it. First one would be having been told that they see that someone found their picture somewhere and then they report.
Yes.
And then the other one is having their pictures being taken.
Yeah.
Right? I've had friends, I've dated someone who encountered this problem. In fact, right, I feel that right now my girlfriend sometimes she also like low key gets attention from people on the street,
Yeah.
unsolicited attention.
Yeah.
And then some of these shady people be holding phones real high.
Oh my god.
And I'm just like,
Why, right?
why?
Like why?
You know, I've had someone I dated before was like, they film her very blatantly down her shirt,
What?
and then after that sit down and then view, and then she IG story the reflection from the MRT reflection.
Wow.
Dude. That's me.
That's messed up.
And then
That's
after that,
crazy.
she was like hysterical about it. She was like really upset, and like it's scary. In her
It is
experience like that.
scary.
She don't know how to confront him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told her say that like find someone to do it with you or for you, transcom, all that kind of thing. But it's just sad that has to be the situation.
They even have to do that, right?
Yeah. Why? Just because you have a camera phone doesn't mean you need to take picture of other people.
It's
Especially not people in compromising situations.
yeah, I think it goes back to the consent thing as well. Like we keep going back to that. I once again I don't think the sex education system has been doing the Singapore society well. And also, man, some people just don't understand how messed up that is lah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tynn? I mean, there's nothing much to think, right?
It's just messed up.
It's just messed. Have you personally felt it or like
Uh,
experienced something like this?
I not personally, I don't think so. But I think it's just like there's a right time and place for everything. If you have certain desires that you want to fulfill, find a proper way to do it. And don't do it against other people's wills, like circulating pictures of other people who don't want to be on there.
Yeah.
And doing so behind their backs. You know?
Yes.
It makes them feel very unsafe, and like I don't think it's just not a very pleasant feeling having pictures of you online on any platform against your will.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just when you obviously don't want it there and it's still there. It's just a very uncomfortable feeling lah.
I think we are going. Why don't we go back in the last 10 minutes? Why don't we go back to one of the arguments? Was it last 10 minutes? Last 13 minutes each. John brought before the camera rolled. Actually brought something along the lines of like a lot of people who send unsolicited dick pics or maybe do these Telegram groups. They might think like, oh, the girls dress so provocatively. Therefore, I am entitled to this, or I can do this. What's wrong with it? They obviously know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And we all just want to say what a terrible argument, but let's go a little bit into why we think
I
it
call
is.
this the argument that people like to label as play stupid game, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
Right, which I think is not the most applicable in this kind of situation.
Definitely.
Because as much as you can call it play stupid game, that is not the point that we're trying to say here.
Yeah.
Right. I recently made an Instagram post which I think resonated with a lot of ladies, a lot of my female followers. I mentioned something. Let me just read it so I don't read it wrongly, right?
Yeah. What's it about?
It's about a woman's sensuality, right?
Okay.
And what she posts on social media, which I think is So I addressed it to all men, right? Because my friend posted this, like, so she's like, "Hey, you men on Instagram, I urge you to read the next few stories." So she shared a few screenshots of people with some disgusting, some really deplorable replies. So I posted that screenshot of her message, right? And I said, to all men, if nothing else, everyone deserves respect. Don't mistake a woman's sensuality as an invitation to intrude. And I think this is the crux of the issue here.
Yeah.
You can argue all you want that it's like play stupid game, win stupid prizes, but like, I think the main point that I'm getting at is that there's an intrusion that's happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Who gives you the right to, I mean, if a woman is sensual in a public platform, right? She knows what she's doing, she's comfortable with what she's doing, she's publishing content for people to see.
Yep.
Then see. Don't intrude.
Yes.
Right? It's like how you may see that your neighbor have a very nice brand new flat screen TV. You walk in, meh?
Yeah.
No what?
Yeah, you don't
fucking walk in.
You don't like walk in and stay.
And this is what I mean
Yes.
by like, just because a woman expresses her sensuality, it's not an invitation to intrude. So the whole argument of the play stupid game, win stupid prizes is some nonsense. It's just justifying the people who are being intrusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, like the same logic can be used with like the whole like rape situation, especially with the third Instagram saga, which we covered a little bit before already. We talked a little bit about like, you know, when women or men get raped, it's not because of their like what they were wearing that day.
Exactly.
And even if they were wearing a skimpy outfit or whatever, doesn't give you the excuse to rape them or do something against their will.
It justifies nothing.
Justifies nothing.
Yeah.
So I think the same logic is applies there.
Yeah.
So like, just because like DJ Jet Rasif posts a lot of like skimpy photos on Instagram doesn't mean that you can send her a dick pic unsolicited.
Yeah, absolutely. She posts on a public platform for you to see. Then you can only do one thing.
Just see
See ya.
and like it if you like it.
You can like lah. You can
comment, I guess.
yeah.
You can comment, say.
You can share to your friends lah.
Comment nice things, not bad things also. That's another
Fire
thing.
emoji.
Fire emoji. Yeah, go ahead. You know what?
No, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
These are interactions that are clearly there because the person intended for it to be, right?
Yeah, and I think Tini talked a little bit about like claiming the sensuality and like
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate more on that?
Okay. I just think that like a woman's sensuality or anyone's sensuality for that matter is their own thing.
Yeah.
It's something that they explore with themselves, something that they can express freely. It's up to the individual, and like how sensual or conservative you are has nothing to do with how sexually inviting you are, or like it's not any reason for anyone to make advances on you that
Yeah.
you did not ask for because you never explicitly say anything. And I just think that they are two separate things.
Yes.
Someone dressing not so conservatively does not equal to the fact that they want more attention, for example.
Yes, exactly.
It's nothing. It's just because we are unfortunately conditioned to view things this way. But
Yeah.
I think that a lot more needs to be unlearned about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean it goes back to like all the times where like our parents. I have a sister, so like
Yeah.
there are times when like my sister like wear ripped jeans or like crop tops. I mean now it's okay lah. So now she uni already or whatever. But like in the past, like my parents would be like, oh my god, like cover up a bit more, that kind of thing. If not like people stare at you or whatever. So it does. I think it's like an older generation thing as well that like kind of trickled down still. That like it is, I guess the way a girl dresses or the way a woman dresses, like will inadvertently lead to certain outcomes and is their fault because they dressed a certain way. And I think that's something that we need to like I guess try to debunk in our heads up and like try to like stray away from as much as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, just because people are posting it on Instagram doesn't give you the right to like intrude. Lor.
Yes.
I mean, is there anything else you guys want to add? I feel like this is a rather cut and dry pile of
No, I think it's very clear because like very unfortunate that like these kind of cut and dry topics we still need to talk about. The fact that it is still worthy of discussion means that these things still happen.
Yeah.
yes.
And like they happen either because of ignorance
Yes.
or willful ignorance,
Yeah.
right? And I would say the ignorance thing is probably something that we would ideally want to solve by education. But it's the willful ignorance that requires us to take action.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think this is where we come back to the earlier point where we mentioned about, how men need to stand up for certain situations that are undesirable.
yeah.
And it's in times like this that we have to have our people in privileged positions step up for those who are less privileged.
I agree.
Yeah.
Willful ignorance is only possible when someone has a certain amount of privilege or power
Yeah.
to ignore,
Yeah. Definitely.
right? So this is also a sign for someone with equal privilege and equal power to step
To
up
step
and
in,
right the
yeah.
wrong.
I agree. And I mean why don't we use the last 5 minutes to talk about a very common rebuttal to a lot of like women's like concerns is like not all men message.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will be like, women will say that I'm very scared because of men because of these things. And then a typical response will be not all men.
Yeah.
I think we can spend a short time because we all kind of agree with this. I don't think that should be the response.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Tini, do you feel like you do everyone does agree that not all men are like that, right? It's not like something that it's just because of this small amount of like people like the black sheep that make you scared of a whole like
I think
gender.
when you say not all men, you need to then go back and question why your first instinct is to defend yourself rather than to empathize with the person making that statement that they are afraid of men or they dislike men. Because I think just because it's not all men doesn't make it an excuse for what has already happened. The fact is that men have harassed, assaulted, whatever, women and non-men countless times, and it's statistically proven. It's evident in the facts.
Yes.
And I think that when women or non-men say that they are, scared of men, they hate men, it's not, obviously they are not directed at all men.
Oh yeah.
It's just that when, like the analogy I used just now, if you have a basket of eggs and a few of them are rotten, you're obviously not going to take that chance and eat an egg from that basket because you know that there's a chance that you might eat the rotten egg. And that is kind of this, it's a similar idea when we think about men, is that because there is a very good chance that a man that you encounter could potentially be dangerous, could potentially be a sexual assaulter, something like that. That's why you are scared, because there is a real chance. And yeah, so it's not to say that you are not a good person. It's just that because it's evidently a problem, you are rightfully scared or rightfully hateful, you know?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the blame thing we talked about before the camera break. We're not blaming anyone. We're definitely not blaming you guys. You guys definitely didn't do anything wrong. It's more about the, we're not blaming you. So I don't think the first response should be defense.
Yeah.
I think it should be rather like trying to understand why they think that way. And I hope that people who listen to this won't immediately think that we are blaming you or we are think you are immoral or anything.
I do have a counterpoint to the people who say not all men. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, when you hear something that you don't really want to hear, you say not all men. Right, and then what happens after that?
There's still men who do it.
If you say not all men, and the person who you are saying it to accepts that, does that change anything?
No.
No,
right? You defend your point, and then
and
this is what I think we as men need to understand. That like just because even if you get acknowledged and people support you, and not all men, then what's next? If the solution is answering not all men, and then people be like, yes, not all men, then world peace, then clearly it's not working right? Why do these things still happen, right? Because saying not all men when you are not an offender also doesn't solve anything.
I think it's we're not trying to blame you once again. No one is blaming you, especially if you're not the person who did it.
Absolutely.
Is I think when you hear these things, the first response shouldn't be trying to defend yourself and trying to instead like try to understand where they're coming from. I know it sucks when you hear these things and your immediate response is to like, wait, but I don't do that. But I would say like try to suppress that first response.
Try to understand what is the motivation behind those words. Because if you say not all men, nothing gets solved. Right? Clearly there is a problem to be solved here.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you hear something being said about men, it's not so nice. Like, for example, your woman friend says like, oh, God, I hate men. Naturally, the response would be to feel defensive because, you know, you are a man and you don't resonate with that at all.
Absolutely.
And the first response would be to say, hey, but I'm not like that, what? But I think before you even respond, you should reflect first, why is my friend saying this? And instead of saying not all men, oh, but I'm not like that, you should just support your friend and say, actually, I understand why you're saying that.
And like, how can I help?
Oh yeah, how can I help you?
I think instead of like saying not all men, I guess in a weird way try to prove not all men.
No, because
I don't know. Is there a good way of thinking about it? Try to prove
maybe
with your own like good behavior, I guess, or like try to prove.
Maybe the word isn't.
The first response should be very simple, right? Instead of saying not all men, it should just be what happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What happened already? Then after you go and think, did I do this? No, I didn't. Okay. So how can I help you?
Yeah.
Or like, why do you feel this way?
Yeah. What does it matter whether it's all men or all? I don't know. Like people say, Malaysian nasi lemak nicer than ours. Not all nasi lemak. Huh? Are you crazy? What are you saying? Right? That is not the point. Right? What are you saying? Oh, every public toilet is dirty. Then the janitor comes to you. Not all toilet. Huh?
Yeah, it's a very sweeping statement that does not do anything.
Doesn't fix anything. The fact that people bring up something that is potentially inflammatory that clearly make you emotional, and then you say, not me.
Yeah.
I mean,
good job lah. Your observation is correct. Then
I think I not say we don't understand why any men, especially in the quote unquote innocent ones, are like I guess a bit more defensive about this type of thing because they're like, what the fuck, I didn't do anything wrong. Why am I getting attacked? But yeah, once again, I'll implore everyone to not think of it as you being attacked.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I'm pretty sure women are not trying to attack you either. They're trying to attack the rotten eggs in society or like the people who have did them wrong.
Yeah.
So, just try to be understanding. I guess I think that's the least we can do, right? Like
Absolutely.
When something has happened,
Yeah, man. Ask what happened first.
we'll ask what happened first. Important.
Yeah, boy.
Listen.
Empathy.
Yeah, boy.
Empathy. Is there any final words you want to say? We kind of went over this, like the third time we went over the 1 hour mark ever.
But it's okay, man.
But I think it's a good topic.
Yeah, we can just try to end off now and then any final words?
Not really. Just hope that the listeners can be open to new ideas and constantly reflect on their own mindsets and opinions and continue to unlearn and learn new things.
Do you have a good time on the show?
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Swaggerino.
She was so nervous before the show. She was like, I'm so nervous. And you're like, you guys are great, so please do not let us disappoint us right now.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. I trust our community. So like before we properly end off, I want to thank all of you all that have been tuning in with us.
Thank you so much.
Once again, like with all episodes, I want to encourage you all. This one is a particular touchy one, so I want to encourage you all to have a intellectual discussion in the comments.
Yes.
And if you all disagree with each other, I want you all to try to focus on the issues at hand than being personal with each other when we have certain discussions, which I know is very difficult to do on the internet.
Yeah, let's not be personal about this.
Yeah.
If you have a differing opinion, first of all, don't need to apologize. I see a lot of people saying sorry, I have a different opinion. You don't need to apologize. Just say your different opinion, say it in a nice way, in an intellectual way.
Yes.
And we will be open to it, or rather open to a discussion at
Yeah,
least.
absolutely.
So, a good way to do it is definitely in the comment section below. But if
and
you
our
don't,
Telegram chat with you. If you're joining us this late into the episode, I firstly thank you. Secondly,
Thank you.
I don't know if you joined at this point, what's the point, but like it's okay.
What's up?
We have a Telegram chat coming out and we have a Telegram channel, all right, for us to post our updates over there so that we can engage with you all a little bit better. That being said, you can remember to follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
And
IMO
Tynn
the pod.
also, what's the Instagram page that you run again?
Inter-uni LGBT.
Inter-uni LGBT, so you can find out a little bit more about some of the things that she advocates for and what the group is about. And with that, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys. Stay safe and see you guys next week.
Yeah, boy.
Bye.
Peace out. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask, please.